This is the Crusader castle at Sztum. Sztum is in northern Poland. It is about 70 kilometers to Gdansk from here by road approximately, and this castle, as you can see, is in absolutely excellent condition. So I'm going to take a walk around it right now. Now, I am not a medieval historian, so what I know about is 20th century stuff. But all the same, whilst I'm here preparing the 20th century stuff, I can show you around the castle. And anyway, so in the year 1095, Urban II proclaimed the First Crusade. Now, the idea of the Crusade was this, is that the Muslims had taken over the holy places in Jerusalem. Well, that's what the excuse he used. This had happened a very long time beforehand. It was in response to an appeal for help from the Byzantine Empire. Mind you, that appeal for help had been some 20 years earlier, so he wasn't exactly noted for his speed. He would do things. Having said that, the knights, or rather the landless aristocrats, the second sons and the third sons, they were the ones who went off to fight the Muslims. Not just Muslims, but for everybody else that could meet along the way. Christians in Europe and Jews in Europe, and Muslims when they actually got to them. So here, how come this castle's here? It wasn't, the Crusades weren't aimed just at the Holy Land, or Middle East I should say. Spain had been taken over by Muslims in the 8th century, and there's been a slow, what in Spanish is called la reconquista, reconquest, which took 700 years more or less. And other crusaders fought against the Catholic heretics, effectively, Catholics who believed in peace, and the Albigensian Crusade of the 13th century in southern France. But the second largest, I think, of all were the Crusaders who came here to the Baltic, and the Teutonic Knights are often called, and they left their mark by their doing things that Crusaders do so very well: the pillaging, murdering, killing, and the destruction of local peoples. Now, this area was inhabited by what's called Old Prussians, so that's to sort of distinguish them from Prussians. People lived in Prussia, for example, up until, as long as Prussia existed, up until 1945. So the Old Prussians were a group of several tribes. It was a Prussian language, which is Slavonic language, and I tried looking at it yesterday to see what I could understand, which wasn't a great deal. But anyway, the Teutonic Knights came here and they left their mark. Now, this castle here, as you can see from the outside, is really in excellent condition. But the biggest of all the castles was not just the north of here, at Malbork, Marienburg, and that was where the Grand Duke used to hang out. Now, despite the fact that the Polish king was also Catholic, and the Teutonic Knights were as well, the two of them, large parts of history, didn't get on. And the Battle of Grunwald, also known as the First Battle of Tannenberg, 1410, was between Poland and the Polish king and lots of other stuff, Lithuanians, and I mean, it's difficult to say because the borders weren't the same, but although the Teutonic Knights, it needs to be said, were heavily outnumbered, there wasn't many of them. The Teutonic Knights very similar to the state of the Crusader kingdoms in the Middle East, I think, because in the Crusader kingdoms there was very few people there who were European, and they had these very long borders to maintain, and also a population which was potentially hostile to them, potentially, I sound. And they maintained their presence by huge castles. There's one called Crac des Chevaliers, which I'd like to see one day. Anyway, so it was very similar here. They built these huge castles. Now, the Battle of Tannenberg, First Battle of Tannenberg, 1410, sort of fell into the mythology of the defeat of the Germans by the Slavs. That's the way it was presented. Perhaps that's not really entirely fair, but that's the way it was presented after the Second German Reich was created. And so that's why, when the great victory, the big victory, the Second Battle of Tannenberg, which wasn't fought at Tannenberg. Okay, Tannenberg wasn't all that far from where the battle was, but it wasn't actually fought there. And but that was the name it was given. So it's a sort of a revenge, so to speak. Now, what do you think this river is? The Vistula? No. The Rhine? No. It's a lake. But it looks like a river though. So I like these uneven steps. I probably wouldn't like it if it wasn't so fit, but the thing about the uneven steps, it does give this old world appearance to everything. So obviously I'd tell you more if I knew any more, but I don't really know much, so that's it. 4 years ago I went round the entire battlefield of Grunwald and filmed this. Of course, still haven't put the film together, and I've only just put the film up, which I did of the Tannenberg Memorial, which I filmed the day before I went to Grunwald. Just Tannenberg, Stembach as it's called these days. Stembach village is really small. There was also an Operation Tannenberg, was done by Nazi Germany, which was the elimination of potential resistance in Poland. So it was the tracking down of anybody who was sympathetic towards the Polish cause, or independent Poland, intelligentsia. And this in Operation Tannenberg, directed by the SS at the beginning of the occupation of Poland. There you go, and they've had these signs up showing these are the Crusader castles. This one here is Castle Gniew, and this is another thing. I filmed this one 5 years ago and I still haven't put the video up. But I went there in 1997 the first time, and what it looked like when I went there again 22 years later, absolutely amazing. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful, really done. It was almost an empty shell first time I went there. Fantastic. Anyway, a hotel has been put up there. Looks really wonderful. Anyway, so there you go. There's a walk around the castle, because I'm almost back now to where I started from. And so if you might have found that interesting, a walk around a castle. My own opinion of the Crusaders is that here the Crusaders are portrayed in a very negative light, and so rather than being the Pope's men, so it's people put the slants and twists on history. I think as this is when we were at school and we're sort of seen as these Crusaders going off and fighting for Western civilization or something like that. But the thing that isn't borne in mind, what the Crusaders Crusaders was. It was a bit like the Russian invasion of Ukraine. You know, it's just like massive theft, and that's what it was. It was the destruction of in many cases, I would say, a civilization which was superior to the barbaric hordes who were descending on the Middle East. The reason it was able to conquer the Middle East is because there was no unity amongst the Arab states or groups were fighting amongst themselves, and this ultra religious barbarian horde who was extremely dangerous at the same time, it needs to be pointed out. There was one place, the name of which I can't I've forgotten, but I couldn't pronounce it even. I could remember it, where the Crusaders, unable to find food, resorted to cannibalism by killing the inhabitants of a village. Now, there's those who said this didn't happen, but I'm now using what local chroniclers said. Now, in that very same village, I think in Lebanon, there was somebody who said the following some 50 or so years earlier, and he said this: there are people with brains but no religion, and there are others who have religion but no brains. And with that thought, I'll leave you for the day. Thanks for watching.